Hello, this is Max Drake. I want to talk to you about LintaList. So let's just go through with that. So LL space, and it comes through and writes something like that. The other one I'm writing here is I'm going to use Alt +7. So I've used a hotkey to actually trigger that. If I go back to the first one, I've used 2 letters, and then I've used a trigger key, which is my spacebar, for triggering that key off there. Now you see at this point in time is actually just right into the end of the line, and then I've got to start a new line. So let's actually just look at another couple of ways that we can start this one here. So this one here, the LintaList one here, I can double click on it there, and it writes through there. Another way that I can do is I can trigger the program off through here. I can touch it once there, and I can go enter, and it takes it into my clipboard. This is Windows V, and it takes it into the clipboard, and then it pastes it into the program. So now the interesting thing with this, if we just come through to the next level down, is that if I just use that Windows 1 again, and if I click on that, it says that's what you do when you enter, but you can also do Shift Enter. So let's do a Shift and an Enter now. And instead of just the LintaList, I'm getting another lot of information. So LintaList allows you to store and incrementally search and edit text in bundles and paste a selected text in your active program. The text can be interactive. For example, you can automatically insert the current time and date, ask for basic user input, or make a selection from a list. And finally, it can be also run a script. It can also run a script. You can use keyboard shortcuts or abbreviations to paste the text in, or run the script without opening the windows. So without opening the windows, again, we've just done the LL, and it's done through that. Now I'd like it to return down, so we start as carriage return. So let's just go back into that again there. So if we go into there, and we're just going to take that one that we're doing there, we're going to edit that one, and at the end we're going to put a space, and we're going to put an enter, and now we're going to save it. Now if I come into here and I go LL, it immediately comes down onto the next line. So that's quite handy. And if I go back a line, you'll still see I've got a space. So if I was to do it again, I've got a space in between the other ones. Whereas before, you'll see if I did LL, it's right on the back of it. There's no space in between. So you can add spaces and things like that to actually make things occur. So let's go through a couple of the other things that were actually mentioned in there. So I'm just going to change. He calls them bundled, but they're a bit like menus. So I'm using this Mac menu. I'm going to go and use this example one, and it's called something silly in here. So this one here, I'm just going to trigger from this point in time. So I'm just going to double click on it here. So this is a dear one. The first thing it does, it comes up with a pop-up box there, and it says, who are you writing to? So we're going to write to Fred, and we're just going to go OK, and we're going to say, what color is his hair? And we're going to go blue, and we're going to go OK, and then it says, dear Fred, we really like your blue colored hair, don't worry about it. So we've actually put these 2 variables in, and they've landed in. I've also got another local variable here that I put in, and it says read the docs for more information about this through here. So you can find my address, which is this bit here, inside the variable. So it's only saying we've got variables in there to play with. So let's go and see what those variables are. So if we just go and select on that, and we're just going to go and edit into there, when we come through, we can see there's a variable here. There's one there, which is these double brackets, square brackets. And here's this input one, which is actually saying, what is the name of the person you're writing to? We really like your input. What is your hair color? So it's asking you for that. If we come up to the top here, I'm going to go onto a new line, and we go into a thing. Well, we can actually say input. Where's input? We can have input, and we can actually say shoe size, because that's very important. And we'll put question mark there, and then we can actually go your shoe size is small for your height. And here's coming through with the date format is what it is, and we can change that date format there, and we're going to go down to 3, 4 Ds, comma, and then we're going to put it like that, and we've created this variable 1 through here. Now I'm going to show you where we hold that, and in there we've got the address, and all we got one is called var my address. Now anything you see with a var means that it's a local variable that you have made. So if we now save this, we can now run this with a hotkey. So we can choose a control hotkey. So we're going to use Control plus W, Control. That's it. Oh no, if they're assigned to something else, it won't let you use them. So Control Q and Win will actually work through there. And I've got a shortcut one called DD, and let's just change that to DX, we'll say, and we go save. It seems you've changed the hotkey. We should restart. So we're going to restart that, and that's fine. Now, when we come back into the higher point at this point in time up here, if we come into here and we look at and manage our local variables, we've got my address, and we've got this one here. So we can actually say 24 the big trees, Steamroller Road, Cape Town zip 123, wherever. And then for myself, we got that, and we just got one here, and the var one here is called blue. We can actually change this variable to thingme, and we can go save. So now it's going to restart that. Now the reason why it's restarting all the time is it's a list that it's got in a file. So it's not looking into a database, it's just got some files in there that it's putting these things in. So as it's adding these to a file, it's got to refresh that file so that you've got the latest stuff. Otherwise it's reading the old file. So that's what it's doing there. So now I think I made it DX, and if we come through there, what is his name? It's still Fred, and we can go enter for that. What is your hair color? And we said pink this time round. He's really getting to it. Shoe size is a 9 or an 8. And there it comes through. And we can see that the new date has come through. Sorry, the new address has come through. There's the hair. You can see that if we look at the today is the 6th of November. Now is Saturday the 6th of November. So we've changed that as well. And we've added in the extra thing. So this is really good, where you've got a whole load of boilerplate that you're linking in, and you can actually just slam them all through very, very nicely. The other one, now this is something that gets me a bit confused through here. If I come through here, they call these the bundles. Now, if we go into edit and manage the bundles through here, the actual name of this bundle, the squiggle wonk one, is actually called example.txt, but you can give it a different name. Now, why it just doesn't give it a name automatically, I don't know. It just confuses me. So I've got one called Max and one called Max Old. So I've got those ones there, and you can create new bundles, and you can give it names and all these other things, etc. And we can actually just go save for that. So I've gone back now, and I'm going to make that one my current bundle. So I've now got Max. Now I just want to use this one here as another example of this choice thing. So I wrote an article about this one here, and how I played with it and what I was doing, and I was using a different script called autocorrect, and I'll just add a few of these shortcut links on the end. But I find this far more versatile. The two things that really please me about this, one of this is something like, I've got one called EM. And if I hit on that, it's a choice. So that means that I'm actually really handy if I'm doing emails or something, is that I'm coming in, I've got a writing to somebody, and who am I going to write to? I can go EM and, EM spacebar, and it comes up with that. So I can actually choose the one that I want, double click on that, and there it comes through there. Another nice thing which I found with this is it also does emo. EMO space. Got to make sure you're in there. And it can actually put emojis in there as well, so that you can actually save emojis. But again, two things. The file where you actually save your emojis. So if we come back into there again, you will see when we go through for the edit of the bundles, it's saving it in a text file. So you've got to go and find that file there and save that text file as an encoding UTF-8-bomb, or else it'll just write garbage to the thing. So you've got to make sure that it's got that high level of thing to come through there. So just be aware of that if you want to be playing with the emojis and stuff like that. So I quite like the choice thing. So I find that's a really handy thing to do. Another bit that I'm finding, which I find really useful in coding, is that if I'm doing some bit of coding in here, a lot of the times I'm doing a bit of debug, and so I can actually just write as short snippets. He calls a lot of these little text expander things snippets, but I think that's because it's coding. If I'm in here and start typing message box and then write tab, this is the IntelliSense for the coding inside VB Code, but it chucks all the rest of this crap in there as well that I find really irritating, and then I've got to come back and clean out. Now this may or may not work, but I've actually just got one which is MS and Spacebar, and it does the message box, and then it allows me to put the variable in there if I'm looking at a specific variable to play with something. So I find this is helping my coding move forward with a lot of little trivial things. So this is what I find. It's all the little trivial things that you find. I'll be writing an article on LintaList, so I'll use it and I'll stay the words or auto hotkey that I'm using all the time. So for the auto hotkey, I got one which is AHL, and it just writes it through there. So straight away, I don't actually have to type 10 letters. I can actually just type 2 and 3 really, 2 in the space bar, and it does it all for me. And that one there isn't giving me the space at the end, and I can actually do that or reset that up so that it does with all of these things. I can use one key there and it can do my address. I can do other ones to do a pull down list and things. I can have a preset one up for the email so that you've got a first name and a last name and a this and a that, and it puts all the rest of the things in as a general reply that you might actually have. So it's a bit like templating. With bunch of things you're doing. It can do some calculation. When I was actually messing around with that, I actually found it was easier just to do it the way that I do it. It did have an exercise on changing Fahrenheit to centigrade. It was quite interesting, but a little complicated. I would have just written a script for that. And that's the other pleasure inside here as well. And that just is, I can't remember what it was now. If I just go into here, and this is the, no. No, haven't got it there. With the searches through there. No. So here we are. It's Hello World. So this one here, if I just come into here and type MM spacebar, I get a little pop-up, so I can actually run code into there. So let's just go and actually have a look at that one there as well. So with that one there, we go and edit that. You see, it's actually, if we look at these icons, you'll see it's a different color to the other ones. Now, what they suggest through there, the actual code is message jocks, hello world, isn't it wonderful? And then but what they suggest is that you put something in here, because this is the search box that it goes through. So if you don't have anything in that search box, when you start typing, there'll just be blank. You'll actually see the key, but you won't see anything in here, because that's where it suggests, although you're not running the script, it's actually going to run the other thing that you need to do there. So that's something I find I actually haven't done too much playing with the script, but because I'll just talk about this now, I find it sometimes it's a little bit buggy in that it won't quite work, and I've got to restart the thing off. Now to restart it off, you've got to come down into here, right hand click on here and go exit, and then find out where you've got the program and restart again. Now I use the Max launcher through here, and I've just got one here that just fires it up for me. But what I find is that it freezes a little bit. Now if we just go through and look at the actual code in there, at the bottom it's got this one run reload, which is just a subroutine through here, and it restarts the program. So that's what it's doing every time you add a new hotkey onto the thing. It restarts itself so that it's ready to go. So I ended up finding that I couldn't do that if I was running the executable file. So that was the second thing that I wanted to talk about there, is that if we just go into there and go into open the folder, if you look at the file, the auto hotkey script, it's 94 kilobytes. If you look at the exe file, it's 1,171 kilobytes. The reason why it's so big is basically they take the original hotkey file, hotkey script, and then they ran the whole of the auto hotkey program inside. So that's where it ends up as a bit bloated in a way. But what that means, that even though you've got the executable file, you can actually write auto hotkey script in there. You don't need to load it up onto your program. You just run the exe file and you can actually code in auto hotkey. If you're interested in going that far, is that you've just got something, you know, your little short codes which you can actually do your little add things from, don't quite get to where you need to be, and you just need a little bit of script. That's what I find sometimes I end up doing. I just need just a little bit more just to help me over that little hurdle. So that's something that you might suddenly thinking, I just need to find a bit of that. And you can find a forum somewhere that has a bit of code that does it, and then you just add it in. So I did used to have this program on mine when I used to have a couple of hotkeys, and I was using it as a text expander and things like that early on, and I had it on my computer for a couple of years, and then I think I got back into coding again, and I dropped it off, and I went back to doing just straight coding and building up the own script files that I actually wanted. But I've come back to it now, and I actually find that it's meeting my needs for a lot of things that I'm using now, in that I'm doing a lot of articles and stuff like that. I'm using a lot of things with date and time and things, so I'm actually finding that it's doing one. Oh, sorry, and the one that I've got is that I'm writing this blog article through here, and each time I've got a date, I've got the day, I've got the date, I've got what level we are. So this is our condition of each one it's got. Now I've got this nice little one through here that I think is just gorgeous, that I just type CD spacebar. So it just starts that it gives me a title each time, COVID diary, and there it's got through there. Now let's just go and look at that bit of code, because this one really got me excited. It was something that I wanted specifically for me. Now it uses a couple of things when we go through here. So if we just look at this code through here, the COVID diary, oh blast, it's done it again. I've got to come through and I've got to go and edit it. It's got the COVID diary bit of text, it's got the date, and it's got the date formatted so that I've got the day, and then I've got the date in the day, and I've got the month written out in full, and then I've got the year, and then I've got the days, and then I've got a counter that's counting each day further on. So this one here is this, between these two things, that number 5, it's usually number 1. I want something the day after. So if I go save now, and with that, oh blast, actually I want to go back and do something else in there. If I just go into edit there as well, if I just go into, sorry, no, I can't do it there. So save is what I've done there. So if I go into my counter, I've got my one called counter, and it's gone a bit thin, but I'm only on day 61. So I need to go and double click on that, and it's a blogger counter, and I want to increment it back to 61. So go save. So now it's saved that. Did that save that as 61? No, it didn't. So if I, okay, 61, okay, save. Now it's saved it. So it's just going to restart that now. So when I come down here and I do it, now I'm just going to go the CD spacebar, and you see it's got Sunday. So it's not giving me next Thursday, which is 5 days hence. It's giving me 1 day hence, and then it's doing the incremental counting. And if I suddenly think, oh dear, I've gone my incremental counting too far, I can just go back and go into my counter and pull it back a day. So I can just go, double click on that one again, go okay on that, and then just go on to 61, so that it's starting at the right place where I need it to be. it's sort of low tech from the point of view of what it's doing. It's saving to a lot of local files. So it's saving to text files, it's saving to ini files, it's saving to other things. So it's not using a big complicated database at the back of it. Well, the database is just files, so small files and things like that. So that's why it's got to restart each time, because it's updating those files. So the next time it's reading them into memory, it's got the latest stuff that you actually need. So it might be a little bit irritating as you suddenly think, while it's doing that, it's just that it's not going away to and managing a big database to do all of this. It's doing it in a very simplistic way. It's been around for an awful long time, this program, and I've I used to only use the really simplistic stuff of it, but now I'm actually playing with some of the other things. I think it's quite versatile. Also, I think a lot of I'm a bit of a monkey see, monkey do, so I like to see the YouTube videos of people doing this. A lot of people suddenly saying, oh yeah, LintaList, these things do these simple things, but then they don't explain how to do them. So you're suddenly thinking, well, that's all really good, but I don't want to spend that much time trying to set up something that I want to be quite simple. When I was setting up a lot of this, and especially when I was doing something like this, which was setting it up for my particular interest and things like that, I actually found that when I went into the thing through here, if we just go and edit and go into the open part through here, there's bundles which are kept through here. Now inside one's called example there, so you can copy that and just paste it into the top level, and then it's available for you to play through there. And then you've got these other bundles, and the nice thing is every time you update it, inside the backup it updates them. So if you find that you corrupted your original one, it's able to do something. Now, I've had my bugginess with this, and this is the original one that they've just been updating as they've been going along. But there was somebody in the article that actually says to do the things, it loops through all of the stuff. But now they use hot strings. So he had another line of stuff on GitHub where he had another thing where he used hotkeys, and it was a little bit experimental as the way that he'd done it. I had a very brief play with that and ended up going back to the original method of how he's doing it. So my method of doing it, if it gets all a bit sticky with me on mine, I've actually just got this running the order hotkey command, and then I just run the run the reload subroutine, which is what it does inside the program itself every time it updates things. So I find that gets me out of trouble a bit. The other thing that happens as well, and it happens in this program too, so both this pop-up one here, if I come in and I start going into here, sorry, it's error opening that one, if I go into edit and I'm in the edit mode through here, and I suddenly leave the screen, and I collapse it down and go to desktop or something like that, or thing, it gets all naffy with me. Suddenly the key for popping it up doesn't work anymore. And I've got to go down and get this bit here, pop it up, and then close that down, and then this will work again, and it pops up and things. And the same with the LintaList does that as well. So if you're halfway through an edit and you find you're in trouble, the best thing to do is to go right-hand click on that and click that LintaList thing, and that pulls up any of, if you're in the edit mode, it pulls up that one there. So if I just collapsed out of here now, or I drop that down, I drop that down, you see now it won't let me work it, and I can't do anything with it at all. It's just gone Burko on me, and in fact the hotkeys going back to something else. So what I find with that one, I actually just have to go into there, go into LintaList. It comes up that, but this suddenly becomes, you can see it down in the left-hand side, and you can close that down there, or pop it up and close it down there, or whatever. Where's it gone? And once you've done that, wherever it is, it's sort of gone sulky on me there. That might need an actual reboot. That's a bit foolish, but generally I've actually found that it allows you to do that last thing. Anyway, I hope that's been of interest to you. Thank you very much for watching. I'll give links to where it is, and I'll give links to all of the other things as normal. Thank you very much.